nothing was happening on the thing until I clapped. I'm gonna take out the beginning. Or maybe I'll just stick it on the end like I usually do.
That'll hurt somebody's ear holes.
Not the clap. I'll take it out.
You're gonna leave the clap on there? The clap doesn't hurt anybody.
Nobody gets the clap in their ear holes. It's just...
I feel like if anyone knew anyone that got the clap in their ear hole, it'd be you.
Knowing somebody.
Yeah.
Or being somebody.
It just depends on the month, really.
It does.
Welcome to Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast where we give you our 2 cents on everything PlayStation. My name is Alex Wolf, and I am joining the one, the only...
Stephen Morrow. I'm actually not the one and only, though. There's at least 4 other people with the name Stephen Morrow, and I'm friends with 3 of them on Facebook.
What happened to number 4?
They're too famous. They don't have a public Facebook.
Oh, okay.
They're like some movie director.
Oh.
But the other 3, one of them is like in high school, and, well, they're probably not in high school anymore. This was a few years ago. But anyway, so they're like a little bit younger. Another one is like a sound technician. They do like the music for fireworks shows at Disneyland.
Oh, cool.
So pretty fucking cool. And then the other one I think is like an actor or something. So basically all of my dream jobs.
And then there's you.
And then there's me.
You can catch the show.
Half-eaten cupcake in front of a microphone. Talking about PlayStation.
You can catch the show each and every Tuesday on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And then eventually Saturdays, is that when we're putting up the video audio? Or the audio video on YouTube?
It's been inconsistent, but usually within a few days.
You can check us out on YouTube and listen to the audio that way, if that's your druthers.
What?
By all means, like, comment, subscribe to this show.
If that's your what?
Your druthers.
Druthers?
Yeah, your druthers.
I don't know what that means.
You've never heard that? Whatever your druthers or anything, that phrase?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, okay. It's a thing. I could not provide you the actual definition, but due to context.
Like preference?
Yeah.
It's a southern colloquialism. Like, whichever you'd rather, you combine it all together.
You'd rather?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
Whichever you'd rather. You
Down here in
combine it
Kentucky.
Druthers.
But you can subscribe to the show. That way you're caught up on every episode as they go live on your podcast platform.
This is not a live
This
show.
opening has been fucked to hell and back. But by all means, support the show by going over to MTF Production/donate, where you can donate as little as $1 to help us beef quality, hopefully get a decent opener, and something to numb Steven from laughing every 30 seconds. Jesus Christ, are you okay?
I just heard beans, and then it's just, please give us $1. Because baby, I'm worth it.
Nope. That's what you're gonna cap it off with, huh?
That's it. All right, that's the end of the show.
Jesus Christ!
God damn it!
What you been up to, buddy?
Well, besides slowly falling apart, I've been living life, I guess. I took down the Christmas tree finally.
We were just over there, and I did not realize that. But you're right, your Christmas tree was down.
Yeah.
Huh?
So that was a big change. The living room is like twice as big now. It was a small living room.
Yeah, but to be fair though, like that other half of your living room is like
segmented.
Yeah, no one really ever sits there when you have people over. So
that's true. But I didn't move the couch back yet.
Oh.
So I'm still gonna do that. But that means it's a little easier to play VR games now. So that's nice.
There you go.
But yeah. So took down the Christmas tree. That's a big change. I've been playing some King's Quest with Rachel, trying to get through that. We've been procrastinating with the last chapter because we just have a bad feeling. We think somebody's gonna die.
Oh, he's fucking done for.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we right from the start, really.
His ass is grass. Like he's done.
But
roast him.
But yeah, so that's kind of rough. But yeah, that's really what's been happening with me.
Jesus. Well, that's cool.
How about you?
Not too much. Work is work. Preparing for this baby on the way and whatnot. Been playing a lot of games. I got 2 platinums in the last week.
That's right.
Yeah, Rachel finished up the last campfire. And then I finally got around to actually playing Donut County, which is impressive for me. I think the reason I didn't want to is because it was pissing me off that the game is $5 on the App Store, but is $12 on everything else, or $13 on everything else.
Yeah.
So when it went on sale in that PlayStation Holiday
Paying
sale
for
thing,
trophies, that's what you're doing.
I was like, all right, I can justify spending like the $2-3 it was when it was on sale there. I'm like, all right, cool, that makes sense, because I'm not gonna buy this game I know I can get on my phone for $5. And like, typically I would understand that because mobile versions of certain games are like just lesser. Things are missing, this, that, and the other. Donut County is not sacrificed on any fucking aspect on mobile as a composed platform. So there's no reason other than like publisher fees and whatnot and licensing and all that good stuff for that game to be worth
Think
more.
of it this way. You're supporting both PlayStation and the developers.
I mean, but I'm also cheap.
I mean, yeah. That's
So,
just how I justify it.
yeah, and I understand that. But yeah, so that was fun. That game, I wish there was more of it. I really do. Because like, they could have made, it's like 2 hours long, and each section focuses on like a certain character, like home or area they reside in.
Just getting obliterated.
And just getting fucking obliterated. And then you get little snippets of these characters, and like, they exuberate humor like immediately when they're in dialogue. And I just wish that each chapter, instead of it being just a singular level, multiple levels made up a single chapter
to flesh out the characters.
Yeah, and because those characters are fantastic. They are so much fun to just see and like just hear the fucking, like, there's a character named Salt, and he just likes watching birds, and he goes, "Yep, watching birds. Yeah, it's a nice bird I like watching." And it's just the way the dialogue's phrased. I'm like, oh my god, like, this is terrifying, but it was so much fun.
I really want to spend more time with these characters so we can see them develop, and then your favorite character is, I like birds.
Like, I just imagine he's just going to say some other stupid shit. And I'm like, and I just really, really want to see that.
That's one thing that I really liked about Donut County is it never overstayed its welcome.
Oh, like, God, yeah.
It's short and sweet and kind of like, I thought perfect. Yes, I wanted more, but I would always rather be wanting more than wanting less.
Yeah.
Like, that's a better way to be left after finishing a game.
And it was just relaxing. Like, the music, like, it's a very zen game. Because I was super stressed, like, for a few days until, like, I think I started playing it on a Monday. And, like, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was just like, I'm already on edge. So I came home from work and I'm like, I'm going to play this. And it is exactly what I needed. It was comfort food. Loved it.
I really liked the sort of undertones in the story of how, like, I don't remember specifically because it's been a hot minute since I played it because it's been out for a while. But, like, there was this idea of, like, letting people down and, like, having to deal with that. Like, the raccoon guy.
BK, yep.
He was kind of just negligent and was destroying people's lives without knowing, really, or without caring. And then, like, I distinctly remember there was a conversation in the hot air balloon that just kind of made me stop, and I was like, wow, I felt that. And then,
yeah, he was just kind of
keep going.
Not necessarily that he not caring. He thought he was doing them a favor. He had an excuse. Like, every time someone said, "Oh, I've been meaning to do that," he goes, "See? And I just took care of that for you. I got rid of this." He thought he was clearing out everyone's trash. And it was just like, "This is your trash. You don't need this. You don't need that." Like, he was just obliterating everything, thinking, like, sure, he knew he was being a dick, but he's like, whatever. You were going to do it anyway, and you knew it was something that needed to be done, so why are you complaining? So, but it was...
Mild spoilers for Donut Clown.
I mean,
Donut
it's
County,
other than, again, 2 hours long. It's not much of a spoiler.
And it's been out for a while.
Yeah, you turning on that game for 2 minutes, I mean, that would be comparative to another game where there actually is, like, length to it, and you're an hour in the game. So, but yeah.
I like that game.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I remember I was struggling with whether I wanted that to be my game of the year that year or not.
I remember that.
It was on my list.
Yeah, I think both you and Alex Derrickson, both. Alex really, like, pushed for that game. So
I can't remember what else came out that year. Was that Edith Finch year?
I don't know if that was Edith Finch year, but that was 2018. So that was Spider-Man, God of War. I don't know what year Edith Finch came out. I have it, but I've never actually played it, so I have no idea if it's...
You still haven't played Edith Finch?
We go over this every time we bring it up. No, I have not played Edith Finch.
Alright, I'm gonna have to tie you down, shove a controller in your face, and make you play Edith Finch. That's what I'm gonna have to do. Rachel, get the rope ready.
Jesus Christ.
It's a great game.
I've heard good things. I just haven't, I forgot I had it. I didn't realize it until we were scrolling through my library on the PlayStation 5 last night. I'm like, huh. She goes, you own Edith Finch? I'm like, yeah, apparently I do. It was probably free through Plus or something. I think it was and I got it, and I just added it to my library, and I just never thought about it again.
Well, if you want a nice, just kind of chill 2-hour experience that you can sit down and play, I think you would really like it. And I think there's some moments I think you'll really relate to. Like, it's one of those kinds of games where you can see bits of yourself in some of the characters. Mm-hmm. For everyone, it's different characters because there's a lot of them, but it's really, really well done.
I'll give it a shot. Steven.
Yes.
Talking about free stuff on PlayStation Plus.
We've got a doozy.
Yeah, we got a fucking month, man.
Yeah.
To be fair, PlayStation has been pulling out all the stops in their PlayStation Plus games since the launch of the PS5. Not only for PS5 owners, but also PS4 owners. So kudos to them for not, leaving those people behind. I think since slimming down what the store focus is, with it being Vita, PS3, PS4, and PS5, and just making it PS4 and PS5, has helped them follow through with their commitment to saying, oh, well, we want to streamline and make sure we're not going to, forget our PS4 owners with the PS5 on the horizon. You are an animal. I swear to this man...
I'm trying so hard not to make a mess.
...is mauling this chocolate cupcake.
Did I do that?
Yes, you did. You
How
exploded
did I do
it.
That?
This is earlier, and it was further out, but I compiled it into a little pile, so it wasn't, all over the place.
I'm just trying to eat a cupcake in peace, but it is the most difficult cupcake to eat. So I'm, trying to quietly eat this thing, and I'm laughing because it's just... It's explosive cupcakery, is what it is.
Volatile
cake.
But any hooser, so since then they have followed through with their promise of we're not going to leave our PS4 owners in the dust. So this month we have Control Ultimate Edition,
which I am hella excited for.
I know, that's fucking awesome.
Because I've been wanting to play that, but I don't want to spend money on it, and I know that's shitty, but still.
I got a used copy with store credit a year ago. Whenever it came out, there was a used copy at GameStop, and I picked it up and tried it, and I was having fun with it, but I wasn't having as much fun as I wanted, and I had other things I wanted to play, so it was I don't need this right now, so I ended up just taking it back. I'm I'll try it again later. So this is, primo opportuno for me to hop on into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for this one because it seems like I don't know, it gives me Infamous vibes if Infamous were dark.
When it comes to the honestly the combat gameplay feel, yes.
So that was exciting for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also I like supernaturally stuff and weird stuff.
Oh, it's weird. I remember the first hour I played that, I was I don't know what the fuck's happening, but eventually this will unravel. I remember Rachel's asking me, what's going on? I'm you keep asking, but I don't know. This game has not told me shit. I just know I'm in this building, and I am now being called a founder, and I'm I don't know what happened. I found a body.
From what I hear, it still doesn't really make sense unless there's all kinds of in-game lore things. So unless you read that, it's still not going to make sense. From what I hear.
Stoked to see how this looks on the PS5, because PC players, this game was already gorgeous on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but it got a ton of praise on PC due to its graphic fidelity, the frame rate, and ray tracing. It was gorgeous, so I'm curious to see how it looks on this. We shall see. Next up, we also had... hold on. There's also a bit of fuss with the Ultimate Edition being free on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, people were butthurt because originally it was if you owned the original core Control, you did not get the PS5 upgrade. You had to buy the Ultimate Edition, which was a separate SKU, included a little DLC, and then that would upgrade to the PS5.
Yeah.
So, and people already
didn't like that.
They didn't like it because they already spent money on pre-ordering and everything. All right, well, I'll just do that and I'll play it the next gen way that way. And then this happens, And they're like, well, what the fuck? There's been no talk of if Remedy will be providing, or Remedy, PlayStation, or anyone's going to be providing any refunds for people who did pre-order it at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I don't think it'll be anything crazy, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's also... This game didn't particularly sell astoundingly well, which is a shame because I've heard such great things about it. But I think having it on PlayStation Plus is going to help that, too.
Yeah.
So the pocket of people that could be upset is minimal, which doesn't negate the problem, but still, that's at least nice, I guess.
Yeah.
It's definitely nowhere near a Cyberpunk issue.
No.
But yeah, I'm excited for that one. And also, what was the other PlayStation Plus game?
Oh,
It's another one that I'm excited about. Concrete Genie.
Yeah, Concrete Genie. So,
even though we already played it, I'm very excited for other people to get their hands on this game because I just think it's great.
Yeah, I got it, and we both got it around launch last year. And it is a return to form for video games, where it is simplistic, it is fun, there is still deep meaning behind it.
It's pretty,
and anyone can pick up and play. Anyone. Like I can't think of anyone that, at an age where they start playing video games at some kind of comprehensive level, I think would be able to pick up this game and have fun with it and enjoy it in some manner.
Yeah, and it's not like one of those games where if you fail, you're like screwed.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But that's oddly, it's another game that reminds me of Infamous.
Yeah.
Because especially the final chapter was giving me a lot of Infamous vibes. So that's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But still, really good game.
Yeah, so check it out. Pixel Opus, really fun developer. I want to see more from them, so hopefully...
Yeah, they've developed that Entwined game as well, which was sort of like a musical arcadey thing.
Yeah.
But really interesting jump to go from that to Concrete Genie. I'm very curious what they're going to do next, because it seems like they're just kind of exploring and doing whatever they want, which is what I want out of a developer. I think because
Concrete Genie did get a lot of critical praise, I think if they keep it up and they see more success with it being a free game, I wouldn't be surprised if they get, more ambitious with budgeting and whatnot. So, and finally, this one we already knew was going to be a PlayStation Plus game for this month, Destruction All-Stars for the PlayStation 5. So there was a state of play on this game about a week or so ago now as of recording. About 8 minutes long video. It kind of details the gameplay and the characters and things of that nature. So everyone go check it out. It looks like a lot of fun. The trophy list is very destruction heavy. So by all means, sticking to its guns. I'm excited to play this one. I'm a little bummed that I don't know who I'd be playing this with for a while, but it seems like a game I could just kind of hop in, like, yeah, sure, let's kill some time and play.
Does this have local, split screen?
I don't know. I haven't watched the state of play yet. And so here's the thing. This is the second state of play I think PlayStation's done where they just kind of just dropped it. And, even after dropping it, they don't really announce, hey, it's a state of play. There's no alert, notification.
So I check the PlayStation blog every time that I open the web browser on my phone, and I didn't see any of this on the PlayStation blog.
They didn't mention, and when they did mention it, it was in passing with a bunch of other stuff. So it was oh, okay, cool.
It's like they have literally a free or relatively inexpensive way to get information out to people, and they're just not doing it. It's as simple as typing a thing and hitting post.
Even if it's an 8-minute video, Nintendo did a better job promoting. Nintendo does when they do their big directs. They'll say we'll release a smaller direct later focusing on this one title, and then they remind people, hey, don't forget that direct is coming in 2 days. And it's only maybe 10 minutes long, but at least people that are interested in wanting to play this game are notified. The big problem with Destruction All-Stars, when this was supposed to be a launch title, but the problem was they hadn't shown anything off, no one knew what the fuck it was, so it didn't make any sense for people to go out and buy this. So here you are, you've given it time, and you have an opportunity to tell people, and you didn't fucking do it.
Yeah, I remember the first time that anyone really saw the game was when they did a video demonstrating the user interface for the PS5, and we saw like the matchmaking lobby
Yeah.
for the game, and then it got into gameplay, and then they just cut it off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that?
Ridiculous.
And I remember the character was like clipping through the ground, so it didn't look like it was in good shape. So I'm a little nervous, but it's free. It looks like fun. I wish I had a PS5 so that, you know, this seems like something that we would enjoy playing together.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like once or twice.
That would be a good time. So, and from what I've understood, PS4 owners should be able to go through and add this game to their library. By all means, shoot us a notification, letting us know if it still doesn't work. But from what I understand, that even if you don't own a PS5, you can go add this game to your library via the store
just
website.
like with Bug Snacks and you know, other PS5 games that were released.
So there's that. These go live on February 2nd. So as you're listening to this episode, you should be able to go onto the PlayStation Store and add those games.
Do it right now.
Steven, you just said you really wish you had a PS5.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you, buddy. So this comes from GamesIndustry.biz. AMD is expecting chip shortages. So for those that don't know, the chipsets in both the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox consoles are both created by AMD. So during their Q4 earnings call, they kind of discussed like, hey, we broke record sales with everything, you know, we've done. But we're expecting shortages for the first half of 2021 on these chipsets, but expect that to ease up quite a bit in the second half of 2021. So this kind of plays into another reason why PlayStation 5s have not been readily available as much as we'd like. And it sounds like it's just due to COVID-19 restraints still, just with shipping and packaging and just all around manufacturing these chips. So it's new tech, and so give it some time. I think we'll still see a bit of resurgence still, especially with the PS4 Pro console manufacturing halting. PlayStation can focus more time, like while they're still waiting on chips, I'm sure they have some kind of reserves they're still using, and now they can manufacture everything else around it.
Every mention of chips, I just really want some chips and salsa right now.
We have chips and salsa.
Hot damn.
We can make that happen. I'm getting word from Rachel we do not have chips and salsa.
Oh no.
So I am sorry, I have lied.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting PlayStation 5s to be readily available until the second half of this year anyways.
Yeah.
So this is
kind of
fine.
more.
Like I kind of expected this. It just kind of sucks because
yeah.
I mean, it sucks for gamers, obviously, who want the PS5 and are still having a hard time finding them. It sucks for PlayStation, who would, you know, I'm sure they would love for everyone to have a PS5.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of shitty all
Which
around.
is crazy, because in this past week, everyone was getting PS5s almost every day. Like, restocking between Walmart and Best Buy. Major retailers. So, like, Amazon had them, Best Buy had them, Target had them, Walmart had them.
Yeah.
PlayStation Direct had live queues go up 2 days in a row. It was weird, and it was out of absolutely nowhere. And then, even in the UK, there were some retailers that were getting restocks. So, I wonder if we'll see more of that happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a point where the restocks happen with no real warning. They'll run out, restock, and it'll just become habit. People just checking in, and then eventually it'll just be commonplace. Like, won't be no talk like, hey, we're going to have more available everywhere now. Like, you're not going to see an announcement like that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, I kind of like it better when it's not announced because it makes it harder for bots to grab them.
That's what I don't get now, is everyone talks about these scalpers and bots and whatnot, but it's like, stop fucking announcing when you're going to have them in stock. It might be easier for people. Like, the people that want one are adamantly checking every day.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so with that being said, though, like, I still want one, but I'm also not adamantly checking every day just because I'm, like, frustrated.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to reload the same thing just to be told that it's out of stock again. And also, I genuinely believe that there are solutions for these retail websites that they are just not providing.
Well, and that's the thing. So some UK retailers, especially in London, from what I've read, a lot of stores are putting things in place for that. I know one retailer, I can't think of the name, did have something in place, and bots found loopholes around it and got through. So that sucked. But I think... well,
I'd like to see that more, and I'd like to see it more on, like, in U.S. retail websites, like Walmart and Target and GameStop. Like, I'd like for them to implement those things. PlayStation, I know that they make you link a PlayStation Network account.
Yep.
If you want to buy directly from them. I think that that's good.
You have to wait in a queue.
But yeah, I would like to see more of that from other places, just because I can see this becoming a problem into the future. And
with not just consoles.
Yeah, with everything. And I don't want to live in that future. So I want them to have some kind of a process, a security measure to prevent that. Just because, I know that on a strictly business level, they don't really care. If they make a sale, they make a sale, whatever.
Right.
But in the long run, that's just going to hurt them. So I hope that they realize that and that they're coming up with solutions and actually implementing them. Because I don't think that they're expensive solutions.
Yeah. I think PlayStation has I think they've got their solution kind of down pat with them having to send. You have to linking a PlayStation account to when you want to do this. It's the other retailers that aren't really getting anything, which also blows my mind. And I think the only retailer that's trying to combat it in some kind of way, oddly enough, I almost said GameSpot, but GameStop, with them having their bundle solutions and things of that nature. I think that's one way. But that's also due to, as you and I both know, GameStop retailers don't make shit when they sell just a console. They lose money. So I'm surprised more websites aren't doing that, because if people don't, like, when these bots are buying consoles in droves, their companies are losing money because they're not getting accessories sold behind it. Yeah. So weird.
Well, also, like, the idea of bundling things anyways, though, that's not necessarily as consumer friendly, because it bumps up the price. And like, a console sale is useless even to like a retail store like GameStop unless people come back and buy games. Same thing for PlayStation. It's useless for them unless people buy games. And so even having the bundles, that just makes it so that only people with larger sums of money can buy the console, and it's more likely to be a bot or somebody who's playing that numbers game of buying them up and then reselling. Yeah. So it's the same problem. So I don't really see the bundle thing as a solution.
No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a solution. Consumer, yeah.
But maybe a solution for
GameStop to at least make something on their dollar. Which again, that's why I'm saying it's surprising that other retailers aren't doing that, because they face the same profit loss when these bots buy all these consoles in droves. But
yeah, I hope that they become more readily available later this year. Yeah. I want to walk into a store and buy a PlayStation 5 like a normal human being. And so I am not going to have a PS5 until I can do that. That's my new stance. Just because I've been frustrated with going online. That's not to say that if the opportunity arises and it's right in front of me and I can do it online.
What are your thoughts on pickup in store? Because I know Target, when they were advertising they had some in stock, they would only allow you had to buy it online, but they would not ship it to you. You had to pick it up in your local store.
I mean, that's fine, but I like the idea, me personally, of just going to a store without even wanting to buy a PlayStation 5 and just seeing it on the shelf and being like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then that being how I get the PS5. I would love for that to be a thing. Because then I will feel like there's some kind of normalcy that still exists.
Nah, fuck that.
Because that's how I got the PS4. I got it in a store. Yeah, it was a store that I was working in.
Yeah, but didn't you pre-order it and pick it up at the
still, launch? Like, I got it in the physical store. Yeah. I could see it, and I could touch it, and then I could put it in my car, and I could drive home with it. Yeah. And so, like, I just want to be able to do that again.
I get that.
I have a feeling that this is going to be the last console that I'll be able to do that with. So, I just want to do that.
Well, I don't know. I think, and we talked about this extensively in previous episodes, but and I think it was a point you made where if these consoles are available more so in stores, the scalping issue would not be nearly as extensive as it's been. So I feel like if there's some normalcy around the next generation launch, I don't think it'll be as difficult. I mean, depending on whatever they're putting in the console, like if it's some weird like blood diamond thing that's only available at certain spots, like that might make it hard for them to develop and get consoles out there. But otherwise, I would imagine it should be it'll be hard at first because everyone and their grandmother's buying them, but it's just a matter of like checking your local stores and like,
whose grandma is buying a PS5?
For their grandkids, Christmas and whatnot.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's grandma specifically is buying a PS5 for themselves. Well, who knows?
I just want to meet that grandma.
At that point, like,
that's it.
People that are like, let's say, 10 years older than us, that's mid-30s, early 40s or so, they could be grandparents at that time, just depending.
Now I'm feeling old.
Yeah,
oh, no.
like, who knows?
I'm that grandma.
Yeah, you could be that grandma, Steve.
No. Well, still, I'm holding out hope for it. But I'm not getting too stressed out about it. Not till Ratchet & Clank comes out.
There you go. Speaking of games coming out, Steven, a year ago, it was announced that Sony and MLB and Microsoft came to a deal where they would begin publishing MLB The Show on Xbox consoles as early as 2021. And that's looking pretty likely here.
Yeah, because isn't it that the exclusivity for MLB expired?
I don't think it was expiring per se. I think it was a matter of PlayStation's like... PlayStation was the only market. They were the only place that was selling MLB games because MLB 2K, the last one that came out was 2K13. So I don't think it was a matter of the exclusivity deal because PlayStation still holds the exclusive rights, but now PlayStation can publish it, and I think that was always within their realm. We can put it on whatever we want, but because they were competing with other people, it was like, no, we're going to keep it on PlayStation. Now that they've been out of competition for MLB games, for at least when it comes to simulation, at least, it's been 7-8 years since they've had anyone to really worry about. So now it's like, well, what do we do? Like, yeah, I think baseball is it's a universally loved sport.
I thought it had initially something to do with some kind of a license thing or some kind of contract expiring. Because hold on.
Well, I don't know, because it's still, like I said, it's still a PlayStation exclusive thing. It's just PlayStation can publish it wherever the fuck they want. So I think they came to an agreement where they could say, hey, we can sell on Xbox consoles if you agree. And that was really about it. Because, I mean, MLB Association, they're not going to just say, oh, we don't want a game about us on everything. Like, they're not going to say no to that. And, like, PlayStation still holds the exclusive developer rights of developing MLB games. Or at least the show, when it comes to simulation. There's still, like, arcadey baseball games out there. Like Super Mega Baseball. Which, from what I hear, is pretty good. So, by all means, check that out if you haven't. If you're a baseball fan.
Yeah, it was a multi-platform agreement with the MLBPA. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, I think, what is it, San Diego Studios?
Yep.
Sony San Diego?
Yep.
I still think MLB The Show is one of, if not the best sports game, like proper traditional sports game out there. So, they definitely know what they're doing, and I'm excited for more people to be able to play that. I'm excited for that team to be able to make a shit ton more money.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that having to develop on multiple consoles isn't going to bring down the quality.
I don't think it'll be an issue. I mean, PlayStation's already kind of dabbling in. Like, this is... The big thing about this is PlayStation Studios publishing this title. So they kind of dabbled with PC last year with Horizon Zero Dawn. And they said depending on how that goes, they may bring more of their first-party games to PC. And we already know that's happening with Final Fantasy 16 and Demon's Souls. So, obviously, them bringing it to Xbox, I don't think there'll be a lack in quality going on. There might be some exclusivity where, like, oh yeah, it'll be on PlayStation first, and then, stagger the release. Because maybe if there is a quality issue, they can assess and at least get it for PlayStation owners' hands first, and that way. But anyway, the source was Video Games Chronicle. There was a cover art leak of some sort with the PlayStation Studios logo on an Xbox cover art case of MLB The Show 21. So I think all the same, it's pretty cool because I mean we've seen everyone else publish and put their games onto their consoles except for PlayStation. Really, we saw it happen with Nintendo and Microsoft between Cuphead and Minecraft being published on just about everything. And what was the other game? Oh, Ori. The Ori games being on the Switch. So
it's really mostly just been Microsoft showing up on other consoles.
Yeah,
and now it's interesting seeing PlayStation do the same thing
because they've arguably been the most conservative about doing things of this nature So,
Yep.
it'll be cool to see if this goes well. I think
The future is platform agnostic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty fucking cool because MLB The Show, especially on Xbox consoles, is going to sell like hotcakes. Like, I don't know how well you remember when we worked at GameStop and whenever there was an MLB The Show game coming out and there was no games coming out for Xbox, everyone and their grandmother wanted one, and it's like, sorry, it's PlayStation only. And Xbox owners like, well, I guess I'll buy last year's MLB 2K or prior years or whatever they could get at the time.
Guess I'll buy... What was the shitty... RBI baseball.
RBI baseball, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Oh, no.
They'd
buy that though.
They would buy it, but even
they
then...
made a killing probably just because people couldn't get the game that they wanted.
But then it would come right back because it was bad and it wasn't the same. So, And RBI baseball, while it had been around forever, this was like a resurgence of the name to see if they could snatch that market up because of MLB The Show being a PlayStation exclusive. So I think if this deal goes as lucrative for PlayStation, which it will be,
there's no way that it can't be.
Yeah, I would be incredibly surprised if it's not, unless this game is just atrociously bad, which they haven't been. I expect PlayStation to double down and like finally kind of wise up and say, oh hey, this works. Like, we can do this. We can start putting our games on multiple things. And you'll see, it's interesting. So everyone was worried about when Bethesda, right, got bought by Microsoft earlier this year, or last year. Everyone's like, well, what's going to happen?
Well, not everyone.
Not everyone, but people were like, well, what's the conversation going to be like? Will Bethesda games still come to PlayStation? And we both agreed that, yeah, they will.
I think they will.
They'll be timed, probably, for certain experiences, but they'll still come, and they'll still make their money. And we were like, well, what's PlayStation going to do? PlayStation didn't have to go out and buy and acquire someone to do this. They just... We've already got our first-party studios. Let's just get a publishing label going and put them out on everything. And that's what they did.
I highly doubt that God of War will ever be...
Oh, God, yeah. I don't think the big names...
I think PlayStation, at least with their current landscape, PlayStation really thrives on having this sort of exclusive portfolio. That's really... And I think they get away with it though because it's so high quality.
Yeah.
But we've seen Microsoft, I think, dabble in it a little bit more because they don't really have as many like big, like ridiculous AAA exclusives as much.
Yeah, they don't have as many.
Like more second party exclusives, and in that realm, I think it's safer to play with the idea of putting them on other things,
especially games that are multiplayer focused, like Gears or Halo.
Yeah, or like not even very like hardware intensive as well, because like something like Cuphead on Switch, for example, like that's not hardware intensive. But again, like the idea of God of War on the Switch, like,
oh god, no,
it wouldn't work.
Would you see a game like God of War? Would you ever think a God of War game would ever be put on PC, even with a staggered release?
I think it could. Yeah. Because that's interesting though, but I don't think PC and console spaces are really competing.
No.
So I think that that's a little bit more foreseeable.
Yeah, the only real bridge there would be PC owners using Xbox, using Game Pass for PC.
Yeah. And
while God of War by no means would be on Game Pass, it would be, you'd see people using Game Pass also buying God of War, much like they were buying Horizon Zero Dawn, and going that route.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm really curious how the video game industry and how platforms are going to look, and platform services are going to look at the end of this generation. Just really curious. There's a lot of things that I think are in the precipice of changing, or adapting, I should say.
I hear you. Speaking of adapting, Steven.
Oh, no.
Dude, I'm on it.
You're on it with these segues.
I'm ready. I'm prepared. Rumors are circulating that The Last of Us Part 2 to possibly receive a PS5 upgrade.
Is this a reference to the adaptive triggers?
You're damn right it is, Steven. Because Last of Us Part 2 already currently supports adaptive triggers and haptic feedback via the DualSense controller.
So they've already adapted.
Yeah, but there's no proper upgrade. So, like, whereas Ghost of Tsushima received the 60 frames per second, like consistently locked there with the performance mode. Last of Us Part 2 does not have such optimizations
it's
or
still
options
like 30
there.
frames, I think.
Yeah, it's still the same game. The only thing that's changed is the controller. You feel the resistance when you draw your bow. So this comes from Reset Era. I found it via Push Square. There was a user that posted and talked about it. The sketchy part, like, while the user is credible, because this person also predicted multiple portions of the PlayStation 5 showcase last year extremely accurately, that's really the only thing this source has to their name. Yeah. So it's shaky. But again, with the DualSense controller already having support, I wouldn't be surprised. All they'd really have to bump up the game with, I think it already supports 4K resolutions from where it was running on the PS4 Pro. The only thing missing is the frames per second, really, and possibly ray tracing.
Honestly, really, the big thing that they just have to do is just patch in a way to unlock the frame rate.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. It wouldn't take much at all.
Because the PS5 can totally handle it.
It's surprising that they haven't already, because Ghost of Tsushima did it within a month of the PS5 being available. Surprising that a game like The Last of Us, which also then went on sale for half off for the last month of the year, didn't. So
I wonder if maybe they're working on a different thing and then they're going to have that update along with that different thing.
Would that different thing be like a proper like PlayStation 5 version of The Last of Us, like a disc? Like its
I'm thinking it could be a multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
And it could be
We're still waiting on
Return
that.
of Factions.
Yeah.
Which they have hinted is making a comeback.
I mean, they're saying it's still coming. It's just not ready yet.
So maybe that's a thing where they'll be like, okay, Factions is out now. Also, here's an update to make Last of Us Part 2 nice on PS5. Maybe there's like a bundle that comes with Factions with a PS5 enhanced version of Last of Us Part 2. Or you can get Factions separately for $20-$30. I think that would be reasonable.
I wonder if they'll just do the thing that everyone else is doing. And we talked about this last week, I think, where they talk about Factions as if it's its own game. And it's like, it's also free if you own The Last of Us Part 2, but it's the only way you can get it, period. It's not like a separate SKU or anything.
Honestly, I hope that it's just free and included. I hope that they pull a Ghost of Tsushima.
I that's what I expect to happen.
I really hope that they do that. I don't know if they will, though, because I mean, that money can definitely be made.
Oh, it definitely could.
If they do it separately.
But I think just because that precedent's already been set by people like Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead Online, Ghost of Tsushima Legends, it'd be kind of like off-putting. People are like, really? Like, everyone else did this. Like, we voted about your game. Now I gotta pay an extra $15-$20 for the online multiplayer that you told us was coming when you first developed it. You just said it wasn't gonna be here at launch. That kind of sucks.
But I think that would be a good time for them to roll out that update. The fact that they haven't yet says to me that maybe they're trying to roll it in with some other marketing thing. So,
did you play the Factions mode in the first Last of Us?
Briefly.
What are your thoughts? Because I never touched it.
Very difficult. It's like hardcore mode, basically. Because everybody is already an expert online. And I would just go out there and I would get like stuck in a bear trap and then I would blow up. It was rough. I kept getting yelled at because I was letting people down. I just can't. And they had like it was interesting because it had like its own little story mode kind of. Where there was like a little news feed that would tell you things that are happening in your little group. And everyone in my group was dying. I never had enough supplies. I would go out there and try to do what I could to help them out. And then I would just end up getting hurt. And then I would be yelled at by strangers online because I'm not good at that game. I don't do good with like really brutal, high stress things online. It was just expecting too much of me. It was very well done. It was a quality experience. But God, am I garbage at it. With that being said, I'm really excited for Factions of Last of Us Part 2. I'm excited to just play it once or twice, get my ass handed to me, and then turn it off and cry.
With Legends, I mean, we played not consistently, but we've dabbled in it for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, because by the time I imagine Factions comes out for Last of Us Part 2, I will have actually beaten Last of Us Part 2. And I'd be down for playing some Factions. Give it a shot, see what it's about.
Like, I felt similarly about, like, Uncharted Online as I do with Legends and Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I feel like the multiplayer modes and the single-player mode, like, the gameplay directly translates.
Mm-hmm.
But with Last of Us Factions, I felt like it was extra strategic, and it was just, like, I would just die so quickly. And I just wasn't... Like, I play Ghost of Tsushima and Uncharted, like, I just kind of run into situations.
Mm.
And it's very... They have a tool set where you can adapt very quickly. And then with The Last of Us Factions, it felt like, oh, I had to always know exactly what I was doing, and I had to always have a plan, and I had to always be communicating, and I just don't play those games like that. Like, even with Legends, when I play with you, it's like... Yeah, we sort of communicate, but oftentimes I make a mistake and then we just figure it out and we
adapt to it. Yeah,
and it's fine. It plays like an action game.
Mm-hmm.
But Factions was a little bit more strategic, in the same vein as like Rainbow Six Siege or something like that, where it's like I am not
a competitive online player, so like this is not.
I'm not wired for that.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a community for Factions. It has a following. It is a quality experience. So I'm still excited for it to come out for other people, and I'm still going to try it.
How do you feel when single-player games... Because I think this became a big thing around 20... what year did Uncharted 3 come out? Was that 2010, 2011?
I'm not the right person.
Well, that and like...
I'm bad at years.
Like that and Tomb Raider, the remake, the reboot, the first installment came out. And then we started seeing the trend of a lot of the games that were typically just single-player only. Mm-hmm. Like that was all they had going for them. Started getting this tacked-on multiplayer mode.
Well, here's the thing, though. You say tacked on, but... So, Tomb Raider Online, that was tacked on. I think Uncharted Online was actually a well-thought-out thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it functioned very well. And that originally was... Uncharted 2 had the online.
Yeah, Uncharted 2 was the first one,
So that set the precedent. And that was a great time.
Yeah.
I loved the hell out of that. I played that, I think between Uncharted 2 and Warhawk, those are like my two most played online games ever.
Fucking Warhawk.
Unless you count like
God, bring it
MMOs
back.
And stuff like that. But so I think the difference, you're asking how I feel about that. The difference is whether or not it was given the thought and the design know-how as the single-player experience. Like Ghost of Tsushima Legends, they cared about that.
Yeah.
That was a whole separate team. From the start of the game, they were developing that alongside the whole single-player game. And I think that Legends stands alone on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a quality experience. And I can stand by that, and I can recommend just Legends on its own. Like, I would spend money on that game.
Yeah.
I can't say the same about any game with multiplayer, but I'm okay with multiplayer being added to traditionally single-player experiences as long as they're well-designed and thought out and not just tacked on, especially not just tacked on for the sake of a quick buck with microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why Ghost of Tsushima Legends is phenomenal. Does it even have microtransactions? I don't even know.
Like premium currency?
Yeah.
No.
So that's amazing. I know Uncharted Online did, but it was very minimal.
Yeah.
There was like a coin system to unlock stuff.
Did 3 have that, or was it 4 that had that? I don't remember 3 having microtransactions. 4,
I think they
remember.
all did, if I remember
2 didn't. I know 2 for a fact.
There were like additional maps you could buy for 2 and 3.
Okay, like map packs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know... I can't remember if there were like microtransactions.
Like cosmetics. I don't remember.
I know skins, but I don't know if you could unlock those.
They could be unlocked in game with the. You can earn in-game currency by playing online, but I don't think in 3 at least that you could go to the PlayStation Store and actually buy the currency with real-world money. I don't think it got that far.
I know there were map packs and stuff.
Yeah,
and oftentimes those were bundled with some kind of something.
Yeah, and that was pretty standard back then. It was just buying a selection of things and you got extra stuff with it. But you
but I mean, I'm fine with microtransactions as long as the game is good. If it's shit without microtransactions, then I don't want to.
I feel like microtransactions, especially when the microtransactions are purely like cosmetic, Like, you still have the opportunity to earn them in-game with in-game currency. But for the people that don't want to spend that much time working to get that stuff, and they're like, I'm okay with spending $2 or $3 to get it, like, by all means, give them the option. I said the same thing with Legends, actually. I'm like, that game could totally be given out for free. Everyone can have it. You don't need to own Ghost of Tsushima to play it. And to subvert that cost, give everything the option of being like, hey, you can get this stuff in-game by playing it by itself, but also you also have the option to spend some buns on it, like you said.
Just on the cosmetic stuff.
Yes, on the cosmetic stuff.
Because there are upgrades and things.
Yeah.
And I don't want people being able to just drop $50 and then kick my ass.
Right. Yeah, I think that'd be totally fine. I think that's totally fair. Same thing, I think Crash Team Racing got a lot of flack because they originally said there weren't going to be microtransactions in the game. But then there were.
But they're all cosmetic.
All cosmetic. So who gives a shit? Like, by all means, like, okay, sure, they lied. They said, like, oh, we're not going to have them. But then they did. It's like, but you can still earn them in game. There's nothing saying you have to spend money on this. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving people the option by any means. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
I rest my case, sir. So, my question to you is, do I play Last of Us Part 2? I've started the game, Steven.
Yeah.
But in this little news bit is why I didn't buy the game originally. Because I felt like some shit like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But PlayStation has been relatively good about offering just free upgrades for people. But my problem is, if I beat this game and a PS5 upgrade comes out, I'm not going to go back and play Last of Us Part 2 just to see what the difference is on the PlayStation 5. I'll be upset that I have the ability to, but I'll be bummed. I'm like, man, I've already played the game, and I don't get to see all the fancy features.
I still think you should just play it now. And the reason why I say that is, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, The Last of Us is not the kind of game where you're, like, counting frames, and, like, it's not necessarily a performance-heavy thing. Like, the reason why it's locked at 30 frames is because they want more of a cinematic feel.
Consistency. You don't want the choppiness that could possibly come along with it. I mean,
also, they want it to seem more cinematic. Like, that mimics more closely the frame rate of a movie than it is a game. So, like, it is not that kind of experience. Like, visual fidelity, yeah, sure, like, ray tracing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the game already looks and plays phenomenally.
Yeah.
It's still a great game, regardless of whether it's 60 frames or 30 frames. I say play it now, and that's also coming from the place of, and I don't know if I think you've actually mentioned this before, but a few times there have been upgrades for games that increase the frame rate, and they make the game less playable for you.
Well, more difficult. I shouldn't say less playable. It's just I have to.
More difficult is less playable.
No. You can still play a difficult game. It's not like the game's broken or anything. It's just my brain has to, like, adjust, especially when it's a game I've already played. So, like, Spider-Man, for instance. I've been playing Spider-Man Remastered on the PS5, going through the DLC, and I had to retrain the way my brain worked, because even when Miles Morales was available on PS5, I played in the fidelity mode, not the performance mode, because of that, the game was still locked at 30 frames per second, which I am used to. So when I played Spider-Man Remastered and the performance RT mode is now out with 60 frames, everything was extremely fluid. I'm like, oh shit, I actually have to press when he's going to swing. There's no, like, obvious gap. I'm like, oh, he's going to do this, I can just do it. It was weird. And then the same thing happened with Ghost of Tsushima. I started that game on PS5. I'm like, okay, this is difficult. Like, but I mean, I expected it a little bit, because everyone's like, is this going to be a hard samurai game or, like, just a fun little hack and slash game? So I expected it to be a thing I had to be patient with and pay attention to. But then I put my save in the cloud, and then I started playing it on the PS4 upstairs in the bedroom. And I'm like, oh my god, this is easier. And it's because I could see the chops and the frames of when I could, like, oh, I'm going to parry and block now. So I think once I get used to 60 frames per second as, like, a standard going forward, it'll be easier. But right now, I've been playing games in 30 frames or less for 27 years.
Yeah.
So now it's like, whoa, fuck. And I've never noticed that stuff before. And now it's, like, blatantly in my face. So, like, I'm like, oh, well, sure, Last of Us may be more difficult for it. But I wonder, just for, like, immersion-wise, I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to see this 60 frames with ray tracing. And I'd like to see that. I know I won't if I beat this game now.
I still say beat it now.
All right.
Because, I mean, first of all, you already started.
Yeah, true.
You're already in it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, it's not that big of a difference, and there's no guarantee that this is happening.
That is also true.
This is all strictly speculation
Very
coming
true.
from a source that is
somewhat credible.
So, like, yeah, I think just play it now.
All
because
right.
it's good now.
It is good now.
So
yeah. Nothing wrong with the game now at all.
Yeah. Also, I really want to fucking watch you play it. Shit was about to go down and you turned off the game.
We were leaving!
In an hour!
And then we watched Westworld and you were fine with that.
Because I wanted to watch Westworld too.
I was giving you what you wanted.
But not until after we watched Ed, and Eddie.
That's true, but like who doesn't
regrets.
Yeah, I'm,
regrets
I'm not
whatsoever.
upset about that at all.
It's a good choice.
It's got such a fucking good show.
It is. I had never seen that episode too.
That's the first episode. You never watched it?
Never saw the first one. I guess, I mean, I always just caught it whenever it was on, so.
That's true. Well, also back then, like, with TV, this is totally unrelated to PlayStation, but TV shows, like cartoons,
it's related.
Like, you think the episode, because I remember distinctly the first episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog I watched when it was no longer in that weird shorts show they had, but it was like a serialized TV show. The first episode I remember watching was The Weremole. Like, I remember that was the first episode they talked about when the show came on TV. But when you watch it on, like, Netflix or on Verve or now HBO Max, the first episode is The Cat's Motel. Because that's how it was produced in order. Back then, it was more commonplace for cartoons and whoever was airing them to say, and the people airing it, like, no, you need to air this episode first. No matter what order it was created, we want you to play that episode first. And that's how you're going to do it. So, I think that's what happened. So now when I'm like, oh, the first episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and I'm like, what? Like, for me, while I had seen that episode of Ed, Ed, and Eddie before, the first episode I remember seeing on television was the one where Eddie is trying to throw a party in his room, like disco. And he was trying to get that going. Like, that's
I remember that one.
That's the first episode I remember seeing on television.
And I remember the sunburn episode.
Uh-huh.
That one traumatized me. And later,
you live it now.
Yeah, later I lived that experience. So
you do
now
almost every summer, I feel like.
Yeah, now I just relate too much to it. But yeah, and I remember, wasn't there like not a roller coaster, it was like a river ride through the sewers?
Yeah.
And like there was a crocodile, but it was actually Ed or Eddie.
It was a prank of some sort.
Yeah. There was someone in a costume. Anyways, good show.
Such a good show.
I like it.
See, that's all you got for news.
That was good. I thought we were going to go over, and we're at 57.
Damn.
Well, 58 minutes-ish.
Look at us.
Right around there. I think we did good.
We did good.
And not one mention of the stock market.
Not one fucking mention
Not
of
a
the
single
goddamn GameStop stock market.
Not even right at the end. We didn't mention it at all.
Not once. Didn't talk about it.
I'm proud of us.
Same here. Not a single burp or fart either.
Wow.
Yeah. Fuck you. That's right.
Proud of me.
I'm proud of all of us.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this episode of Dual Senses. Again, like, comment, subscribe.
Share it with a friend.
Share the damn link.
This is an order.
I am done fucking playing around with you people. Share the damn link.
If you don't share it, never mind. I'm not gonna...
Let's not threaten. We're not gonna get that
No
bad.
threats this time. But next time...
Also, be sure to go to mtfproductions.com/donate to support the show if you're a fan.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
Love, love, love. I can't hit the pause button. There it is. Alright, this is a test, just making sure that everything is sounding fine.
Everything should sound good. What?
The long before it was cupcake.